All right, today we're going to be talking about the banners. Right now, there is the limited time Legend Fest banner that is out, and I'm hearing some people say it's bad and they're trashing it. Well, I'm here to tell you that's nonsense. This banner is absurd for people at all different levels of the game, but especially, in my opinion, for you new players. This banner is phenomenal and will help you it'll give you a huge jump start into the game. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look at these banners, figure out why that is. We're going to run through, and I'm going to help you decide on where you want to summon or who you want to summon, and I'll give you kind of a brief rundown of some of these units. So right away, Yugi, right? Brand new unit. Very cool. If you get him as a new player, he's pretty solid. Really, for other people, he's just more collection. Like later on the line, I don't think he's that great. He does have stun, but it's kind of it. Like, he's okay, but he will help you early, obviously. As opposed to, I think, Escanor. Escanor is awesome. Escanor is just an awesome unit. He hits airs during one of his upgrades, right? Then he also applies burn, so we can hit elementals. And then finally, he just has pretty decent damage. So he's a really good unit if you're just starting out. He's like pretty great. The only negative you can think is he doesn't hit airs on placement for when you're first starting, but again, that's fine. There's plenty of other units that do. If you get him, you're pretty happy as a new player. Gilgamesh does hit airs when you place him, but he's more, in my opinion, like his unevoed version is okay. Later on down the line, you'll be able to evo him where he becomes super strong. If you don't have him as a late game player, start grinding for him. He is insane. Blood Queen and Chaser Dracula. So they're an interesting one because they were on the Halloween banner, right? That just went away a few months ago or a couple months ago. They were limited, so they were gone and now they're back. So it's very possible that they will disappear again. And if they disappear again, you won't see them until next Halloween. And the FOMO kind of starts to kick in because sometimes they're really good. If you're a new player, both these units are really solid. I believe they both end up full AoE, so they're just good. Honestly, if you get them, you're not mad. They're really solid. Urza, I think she's not great. She's okay. Really, that's about all I have for her. I have never used her or felt the need to use her. I don't see the need to use her. Great character, but lackluster unit. Gojo, early on, he's okay, right? He does have a time stop. And he does have slow that he applies, which is really good for you. But he really starts to shine later in his second Evo, which is going to take you a little while to get to. But honestly, picking him up, you're not mad if you get him. Solid in terms of he can apply quite a few things. Next up is Tamer Suguru. Tamer Suguru is a phenomenal unit for you to pick up. You do like him as a new player. He has 2 summons that he summons alongside him to do damage, which are awesome. One of them actually applies bleed, so there's elemental coverage. He has full AoE during one of his towards some of his later upgrades, which is also phenomenal. So again, great unit. If you pick him up, he's a phenomenal starting unit. Peem is meta. She is just meta, period. No upgrades or evos needed. Yeah, so she's just great. She heals your base for like 45k every X amount of seconds. I think it's like 6 or 8 or something. And she has a usable ability every 15 seconds, which you can just set up to auto go to clear all debuffs off your units, meaning stun. She removes stun from your units. That is so helpful and so good. It doesn't matter what point in the game you are, if you don't have her, you need Peem. Shanks is okay. In his unevoed version, his evoed version is phenomenal. His evo version is so strong. But again, all these LRs are later down the line. So getting them now, like, you can kind of start to damage farm, but you don't have the support to like really pump up or get a fast and efficient damage farm. So like, he's okay. He will be later for you though. He'll be awesome. Law's all right. He got a nerf recently on his ability, so he's like, okay. I mean, I'm indifferent to him. I think that's about it. Fujitora is phenomenal. If you're a starting unit, he's one of the best units you can get, right? You want him. You absolutely want him. He is heal unit on placement, has a dot, or damage over time effect. He has a slow as well. So he just does so much of what you need early and what you're craving early, that if you pick him up and you're just getting started, or if you don't have him and you're still in that early game, you want him. Honestly, if you're mid or late game and don't have him, you still want him. He is so helpful for certain Abyss Tower maps. He's very, very helpful for certain raids to fill certain slots if you don't have them. He's a great unit. You absolutely want to pick him up, period. Flower Magician, everybody needs it. It's a staple. It's the range buff. Somebody in your run probably has it. One person almost has to have it. So, great. Picking him up, awesome. But is he going to help you progress early? Meh, sort of. Not really. Falcon Eye is decent if the event runs long early on. However, he does have an Evo, which makes him just very, very strong in the categories he's in. But because he has that Hunter passive, he really likes to go for long events, or long-running events, so he can build up those kills and do more damage. Finally, we have the Saber. Saber is really good. Kingdom Knights has crit when you get her, right? So if you're new, that is, you're able to now farm for money in Metal Rush, right? So she's going to help you with that. She's awesome for that. So if you get her and you're new, great. Now you have a way to make money to power up your other units to make your life easier instead of kind of struggling making, you know, just little pennies. Now you get to make dollars. You're so powerful. And the last two are skins. So again, if you get her early on, great, awesome. Now you have a way to farm money. So the URs here are also really good. I'm going to let you know. So the problem a lot of games do, right, where if you came from All-Star, you came from AA, you came from these other things, lower tiers, you were like, oh, they're worthless. They're just there as fodder. Well, in this game, that's not the case. A lot of the URs are just straight up better than most of the LRs because they have evolutions. I keep talking about evolutions. Evolutions are the name of the game. If something has an evolution, usually it ends up being worth it in one way or another. So all, like, majority of these URs evo into a meta unit, or are just a meta unit, period. They're all super, super solid and have very strong cases for each of them. So getting those, and you need dupes to evo them. So for the ones that have, you'll need at least like 7 or so. For the ones that I think have 2 evos. So you want these. Getting these dupes is awesome. Getting these is fine. Don't be mad that you're getting URs. Getting URs is great. The biggest thing also, or another big thing on here that I'm seeing, is you have these two, and you have Capsule Girl, and then you have Nami, who's later down the line there. Those are all money units. That's 4 money units that are on this early game for you. That gives you income that lets you put down more units, get more upgrades. It's going to let you just play the game more efficiently. They're great. If you get them early, that's going to help you progress and even help you farm better. So again, another plus side for this. It has all the money units, whereas a lot of these other ones, they're kind of split. They may have one, they may have Denji, or maybe it has L, maybe it has Bulma, or like Nami, but then Nami's not that. This has all 4 of them. So if you're getting one, and you probably will if you're doing a lot of summons, great, awesome. Luffy here is another notable. So like, again, some of these SRs too as well, you need dupes for them. They're good. Like Luffy, his second Evo, which is down the line, obviously, he's really strong. Is he going to help you right away? No. As a new player, he probably won't. But he is really good, and you're not mad getting dupes or getting copies of him. Shinigami, same thing. This one, Mage Child, you actually want to hit early. He's a great, great, great early unit. He will help you so much. So I 100% recommend, if you're getting him, be excited, right? You want him. Adorante, kind of the same thing. Not as crazy early game. She's, again, more focused late game, I'd say. And the rest of these are like, all right. So this has like all the rares. There's a handful of rares to note that are like okay. Like Asta's okay, Yuno's okay, and Tabara's okay. When you have them, they're Evos. They're really easy to Evo. They're going to help out a new player phenomenally. They're great. And then I think Blossom is the only common Evo that has anything to relevance. It helps you more with insane mode in the food system. So, but yeah, that's about it for that. But I'm not really going to get too much into that. I'll probably talk more about these units and how to progress them in another video, because I'm going to start kind of from like a ground up series of Noob to Pro and kind of show you guys how to progress, because this game can be really confusing with that. So I will get more into that in the future as those come out. So the last thing we're going to do is we're just going to go through all the banners. And really, I said we wanted to focus on Legend Fest, but there's something important to note when you're starting. You have this pity. This pity is across all banners. So when we get to 49 or we get to 40 and we're summoned a 10 pull, we're guaranteed a UR. That UR, we could go and do that on any banner. And that applies to the LR as well, right? So you're able to kind of target, so you can do this banner to fill out your collection, maybe get some cool LRs, but then go to these other ones and kind of target maybe who you specifically want. If you love Gojo, well, you're better odds on this with Gojo, so you can come into your LR guaranteed summons here, but you're doing your general summons in here, and that's great. That's fine. Honestly, that's probably the best way to do it. So we'll quickly just go through these on who you might look for. Sakura Captain, great starting unit. He doesn't hit airs or anything, but you place him, he's just full AoE on placement. That's about it. He used to be red, now he's green. I don't know if that affects him. Ulquiorra, not great. I think his Evo is solid, very good, but again, more of a later game or mid-late game, probably like mid-game kind of Evo. Evo Kai, I've never used him. I don't know anything about him. Leader is very, very niche, very situational. You're going to use Leader in a handful of things where he's super helpful, but he doesn't do damage or anything. So your early game, he's really not going to do too much for you, and he only really helps, in my opinion, if you have money units or multiple money units. So, Stardust, Crusader, I think this is one of the two best maps, or two best ones you can do LR, like target summons on, because again, Peem, as we said, phenomenal unit. Tamer Suguru, again, phenomenal starting unit. Awesome, and very helpful for evolving Gojo. He's like your carry. He's the one who carries you through the mission to evolve Gojo. So when you're first starting, so yes, you do want him, and you want him to power it up. You want him to be strong. He's great for you early on. Next up is there's more in this. Bloody Brother, he applies poison. He's okay. Cars is terrible. Cars is not good. We don't like Cars. I love Cars as a character. Great character. Units is lackluster, in my opinion. Of some, and that might make somebody angry. Somebody might yell at me. I don't know. I don't like him. The world, solid. Place him. Has time stop. We love time stop. Time stop's always good. Next up is Rise of Heroes. Gilgamesh, as we said, place him. He's a heal unit. He stuns. He's more focused once you can get his Evo. I think his Evo is crazy strong. Just came out. He's not bad, right? He's okay, but again, that Evo is really, in my opinion, the only reason I would look at Gilgamesh anymore. Flower Magician, range buff is what it is. Same thing. Umu is a burn unit, so she will burn. The only kind of issue, she's expensive and she's kind of been power crept out, meaning new, better, stronger units have come, so she's like meh now. Like, she's not bad. Bill's not, like, in comparison to the others, she's kind of bad now, right? It's just a weak LR in my opinion. Same with Red Archer. He's not good. Shielder, great. Another one of the 3 units that can heal your base, along with Peem. I think Peem is slightly better, but she serves another purpose. Instead of that clearing of stun, she will put up a wall in front of your base so units can't hit your health for 25 seconds, and hopefully you can kill them or maybe push an extra wave or something. So again, you want one of them realistically, just because there are bosses who just ping your base for damage. So you do want to have one of them. World Legacy, we talked about Shanks, we talked about Falcon Eye. And then there's these 3 up here. We talked about him. Light Admiral has resist, meaning he can't be stunned. Great. Very helpful early. You're not mad if you get him. Solid unit. These 2 are a little different. So Madara here has an Evo. I use these units for so long, right? They're part of the same category lead, which is an Emperor, which again, in a future video, we'll kind of talk more about with team building and stuff. But these 2, I used to use them together in so much content that I did in Infinite and this, that, the other. And I remember early days of leaderboard running, you were using both these. So I'm more nostalgia for these. I love both these units. How strong are they now? Power creep happened, right? They're not the best anymore, but Monitors does have an Evo, which is again very costly, very like mid-late game. That's not bad. Still really strong. So, Ultimate Warrior. These two are chases. If you don't have them, you need them. You need one of each of them. Period. No matter where you are in the game. Period. That's it. No discussion. He buffs all heroes, gives them more damage. He buffs all villains and gives them more damage. Also, they both have they're both leaders of very broad categories. I mean, there's a lot of units in them, so you can get that leader buff. And you can kind of fill your team then with just what the best units you have are. 100% you want both of these. That's it. Blue Flames, another burn unit, becomes full AoE. It's good. Purgatory or Rengoku, solid, right? Burn unit, not bad. Boros, love the character, but he's been power crept out. He's not really that good anymore. And then finally we have Demonic Hunt. White Reaper is a paralysis unit, so he'll help kind of slow the progression of units. Great unit for early game, not bad. Just doesn't. That's about it. So he's okay. One Eye Reaper. I actually don't even have him. I don't think I've ever tried to pull for him because it just didn't stand out to me as much as I wish I could tell you about him. I don't know. Miss Pillar Mui, I'm pretty sure he's terrible. Pretty sure. Again, I've never had to use him, so or really felt the need to build around him, so I don't really know too much about him. And then finally you have Kokushibo, who is full AoE bleed unit, who again is alright, kind of power crept out. Alright, so that's it. The consensus, if you couldn't tell, is that yeah, the banner's great. The banner is insane. You should summon on it. That's about it. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you comment down below and subscribe. Have a good one.